Hi! I don't usually begin my videos with hi, but I decided to shake things up. In a weird way, this is my year-end video. I know it's not the end of the year. I'm not necessarily saying that I won't do another video this year, but I am not going to be obligated to do another video for this channel or for my other channel. I'm also not going to be obligated to do any writing on my blogs or on LinkedIn or anywhere else if it's not totally business related, and right now none of it is because it's going to be December. But I, feel like I want to rest my brain a little bit, take care of more personal things, relax. Maybe I'll watch some movies, I'll do whatever, but I need a year-end break. Which is weird because I've got two potential contracts out there, and if either one of them comes through, then so much for that break. But still, you know what? You take your contracts where you can get them when you're self-employed. With that said, this is kind of a follow-up to how I began the year. I began the year doing a 30-day challenge. It was called the Love Your Life Challenge, and it was set up by a guy named Mike Dooley. He's actually from Secret fame, and I did this 30-day thing where you're supposed to help to rejuvenate your mind and get your mindset in a totally different place so that maybe you'll do positive things in the year. It's kind of like a mental jumpstart, if you will. And so for 30 days, there was this project that you had to do every single day. He sent out an email. You already had the download, at least I did, of everything that you had to do. And you just go through it. And then hopefully you will continue some of those things throughout the year. Now, I got to tell you some truths. I've had a kind of a rough year. I really have. And I'm not going to get into all the things that made it rough this year. Who cares? I may talk about that at totally another time. The only thing I'm going to mention that made this year a rough year, and I've already talked about it, I did a couple of videos on it, is the car accident I had in February, where luckily my mother ended up not being hurt. I ended up with a shoulder problem, but it's getting better. And it could have been a lot worse. And so I've just had different kinds of things that have happened, but I've been able to work through them all. Oddly enough, I look at this year as not as horrible as it could have been because my mindset was different. If my mindset had been the way it was the previous year, I might have thought that this was the worst year since the end of 2016. Y'all know what happened. I don't have to say anything about that. But it wasn't. And why wasn't it? Well, because of a few things. One, this thing that I did for Mike Dooley where I printed it out and I wrote stuff down all the time. And you're not going to be able to read any of this, which suits me just fine. But see, this was my planner. And what I did is I wrote in my planner in the back area, and this is the Passion Planner, which I talked about in another video when I did a review of 3 different planners. What I did is I wrote out the stuff that I found inspiring to me, things that would make me smile or feel better. And I wrote them all out, and it took 2 pages to do that. And then on another page, instead of rewriting it, I cut it out and I taped it in here. And I didn't keep it up there long enough for you could read. Actually, I don't care about that part because this last part was writing a letter to yourself of all the things that you did at the end of the year, of all things, which is kind of a motivating way to say, dear self, look at the year you had. And so, I had those kinds of things. And every once in a while throughout the year, I would pull this out and read it. Sometimes I did it when my motivation was low or I necessarily wasn't feeling great. And then other times I was feeling okay and I said, let's just boost it up a little bit more. So there it is. And what I plan on doing once I get my new planner for this year is, I'm not sure if I'm going to totally write it all out again, but I'm definitely going to copy this somehow. I may just cut it out and tape it into the new planner for the years because, I put a lot of work into that stuff. And I want to make sure that I keep it because it has made me feel good. It's the same thing as watching the movie The Secret over and over. It makes me feel good. So I did that. I did stuff with my gratitude journal. Now I have a gratitude journal, which I don't even know where I got it. I think I've got it in the other room. Anyhow, I've had this gratitude journal for maybe 3 years, but I really didn't write in it all that often. But once I started doing the challenge, I said, you know what, we're going to see if we can keep up with this better than we have before. And for the most part, I have. I pretty much write in it maybe every 4 to 5 days. Wrong. Oh, that's wrong. 4 or 5 times a week for the most part. And that's pretty cool. I sit down, and the funny thing is, when I started doing the gratitude journal years ago, I could only think of 5 things, which is horrible every time. And it was always the exact same 5 things. And that just wasn't getting it done. After the 30-day challenge, I found 10 pretty much easy to come up with. And sometimes I wrote 15 or a few more in a day, which was just outstanding to me because I hadn't thought about the concept of gratitude in that way. And it's interesting because it's one of those kind of things that helps take your mind away from the problems. Now, it doesn't mean that the problems don't come, and it doesn't mean that they're hard, but some of the problems you start seeing in a different light. You're able to get over them easier. For instance, the car accident. That's a good example. I could have hung on that one for a long time. When I had my first car accident back in 1987, that sat on my mind for 3 years. I wouldn't drive on a particular road for 3 years. Didn't matter which direction. And it basically cramped my style because I was going way around to get to places instead of taking this highway. But this time, I basically let it sit on my mind for a week, and then I said, okay, we're not going that route again. We're going to get back on this road because, like I said, without going on that road, it's another 10 minutes out of my way. I ain't got time for that. So, by writing these things in my gratitude journal, it helped me to get my mindset better. So, that worked out well. I learned how to take care of my mother a lot better, to the thing where we almost have a routine. And I just have to say almost a routine because Mom, some mornings, she's really good. Other mornings, we're battling a little bit. You just can't control her, and you're not really supposed to, but you have certain things that you have to do. Sometimes I'm on a time limit, so it's like, no, we got to get this done regardless. And then other times, we can take a little bit of time because we're not on a time limit. And so I can, let her have her few little things. And you learn how to, it's interesting in the fact that, I talk about leadership on my other channel and I write about leadership and get along with other people. This is something, that's sort of different, but in a way it's not. Because sometimes all I have to do is agree with her or distract her in a certain way and we get going. And that is really important to me. So that's gone well. Made some minor changes to the house. I'm hoping next year to do better. If I get one of my contracts that I have out there, that's a possibility I could get either one of them. This house is going to look sharp. Not perfect, but it's going to look good. There's certain things that are going to be taken care of, and we're going to be moving forward. And you know what? That makes me feel good. Something else I did this year, late, but I did it, is got back into the investment game. 2009 freaked me out. Let me just say that within 3 months, I lost $4,800 in the stock market when it was crashing. And actually, I guess you can say that was 2008, but I closed the account in February of 2009. So I got back in the investment game. We'll see how it goes. But, you're taking positive steps. This is going to be weird. I started buying some new pants. Now, that sounds weird. It's like, why is that a big deal? It's a big deal because last September, I turned 60. And I also had lost 60 pounds since I had gone on my quest to feel healthier. And I hadn't bought any new pants. Actually, hadn't bought any new clothes except for maybe a couple of t-shirts since 2014. Imagine that. I had a whole bunch of pants. But suddenly, I was having trouble keeping most of them on. It was just so weird. So I slowly started buying pants. Maybe a pair or two a month for a little while, just so I now had some pants that I could wear. I still kept some of the older pants because, they were still kind of cool, and I just tightened the belt a little bit more. I started doing that. I finally have started worrying more about my feet. Diabetic, I've got diabetic neuropathy, and I learned, no one tells you these things until you go through it, that I should be replacing my sneakers every 400 to 5, I think they said 350 to 450 miles. It turns out I'm putting between 600 and 700 miles every 3 months on my sneakers. I didn't know that. So now that's something else I have to track. My feet feel a little better. Not great, but they feel better. And I'll take that because I'm still going to continue my walking. So, I head into 2020 having a plan that I started at the beginning of the year. I feel better. I'm working on my motivation. I'm going to be better in 2020 than I've been in a good long time. And I'm just putting this out there. Like I said, I'm seeing this as kind of a year in, but I still have another month. So if I talk about any other stuff later on, I hope you don't look back at this video and say, well, wait, I thought you did the year in video. No, I did not. And who knows? I just may learn how to edit videos this year so I can do some of this jump cutting thing, because there's a few of the YouTube experts who are saying that we should be jump cutting these things because it helps keep people's attention. I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, my name is Mitch Mitchell. Even though it's not really the year end, I want to wish everyone a wonderful holiday season in 2019, a wonderful year in 2020. I hope we can all get motivated and be strong and aim for the things that we want in our life. Y'all take care.